Here's the last special type of problem that we'll see in this chapter. Past this, we'll study how to calculate friction and then apply that to all of the special problems. But this is the last one that has its kind of own unique problem-solving strategy. Now, this will actually be a new one that you did not do last chapter at all. This is called a two-body problem. What I mean by a two-body problem is that there are two different masses connected by a string. So here's a couple common cases for it. In fact, we're going to do examples with those exact same diagrams. The first one, the one on the left, is what you would call a modified Atwood machine because you've got one block on the table and one hanging from a pulley. But you can see that the mass hanging from the pulley, when released, it is the hanging mass that would accelerate both blocks. So it would accelerate the entire system. So that's why they call it a two-body problem, because both bodies are being accelerated at the same rate. Same thing with the one on the right, you would call that an Atwood machine. So you have the modified Atwood machine, which comes from the regular Atwood machine on the right, and that's when you have two unequal masses over a pulley. Conveniently, all of these pulleys are considered frictionless, so we don't have to do any math with them, but it does give us a unique problem-solving strategy to look at in these. So here's basically what you do. They're going to accelerate at the same rate. So they always ask you two questions in these problems. They ask you to find the acceleration, and they also ask you to find the tension. So the first thing, to find the acceleration, the trick is that you have to use the mass of the whole system. So you have to add the two masses together, and that's something that for whatever reason students always forget to do. So when you do these problems, you have to add the masses together, and then you find the net force, which is going to cause the acceleration. So you just do F equals ma. You just have to have the right mass and the right net force. The second thing then is to find the tension. The tension is a component force to the system. It's not a net force. So you need to look at one object or the other and find the equation for the sum of the forces and use that to find the tension for the object. So first you have to find the acceleration for the system, and then you use that acceleration to find the tension. And that's a lot of words that probably don't make any sense until we do an example. So let's do an example. So, oh, by the way, last thing here. This is going to sound funny too until you see it, but you always make your coordinate system follow the string. So in the case of, and I'll explain that here in a second. So in the case of this example, here's my coordinate system. It's going to follow the string. So it's going to go to the right and then down, like that. So that's kind of funny because it means for block A, the tension is to the right, so it's going to be positive. But for block B, the tension is up, which is opposite the direction that it's going to move, right? So it's opposite the direction it's going to move, so the tension is going to be negative for block B. It also has the interesting effect of making the weight of block B positive. But let's think about this. That sounds funny. How can the weight be positive? But it's the weight that's making it go forward. It's making block A go forward. It's accelerating the system in the positive direction. So that's why the weight of the 5-kilogram block is considered to be positive. So first up, so we've defined our coordinate system. Second up, I guess, then let's do a force diagram for each. So here's my block A, here's my block B. So notice for block A, the normal force and gravity will be the same, opposite and equal. So other than draw them on the picture, they're not going to cause any acceleration, and therefore we will not be needing to talk about those in the rest of the problem. So then you have the tension. So the tension on block A is to the right and positive, on block B is upward and therefore negative. Notice that they're going to be equal because think about it, if block B wasn't pulling, there would be no tension in the string at all. So it's only the weight of block B that causes that tension. So the tension is going to be equal. So, but they're equal and they have opposite signs, which should show us that tension is not a force that causes the acceleration because they would cancel out based on their signs. Okay, and then we have the weight of block B. So the weight of block B is the only unbalanced force on the whole system. So it's going to be the thing that causes the acceleration. So we're going to look at first finding the acceleration. So we'll look at a net force equation. As I said, the net force in this problem is caused by the weight of block B. So its mass was 5 kilograms, so we take that times 9.8 to find the weight of 49 newtons. So that's the net force. If there were friction, you would subtract it from the net force, but because there's no friction, the 49 newtons is the net force. And then for the mass, I have to add the two together, so instead of using 10 or instead of using 5, I have to use 15 kilograms, and then I find the acceleration. I kept a lot of digits on this particular number for a reason. I'll show you that here in a second, but that's the acceleration. The second thing they'll ask you to do is to find the tension. So we're going to look at the net force on one object. Now when you do this, you can pick an object, pick whichever one you want, doesn't matter, but I'm going to show you both of them just to show you that they're the same. So first let's do it for block A. The net force for block A is equal to the tension. That's the only thing there. If there were friction, you would subtract it from the tension and set that equal to MA. But in this case, no friction, so just the tension is the only thing accelerating block A. So I'm going to use the acceleration that I found in the previous part of the problem and do mass times acceleration. So I get a tension of 32.7 newtons. It's to the right, so it's positive. Okay, that's it. Now, if you were just finding the tension, you could be done there, but I wanted to show you that it's the same whichever block that you choose, because they are accelerating at the same rate and they're going to have the same tension. So for block B, let's look at the same thing. For block B, instead of just having tension, you have tension plus gravity, because they're both in the direction, the FG for that one is in the direction of motion, the tension's opposite, so they're both in the plane of motion, and that's equal to mass times acceleration. So the weight then was just 5 times 9.8. I don't know why I put that in there. I think we already determined that. And then we'll fill that in for the equation that was above that. So we have tension plus 49. Notice the 49 is positive here because the weight of block B is pulling the whole system, so it's essentially forward. So if it's forward, it's going to be positive. So I set that equal to mass times acceleration and solve for the tension. And then I get 32.7 newtons. So same tension no matter how you do it. Now that's the reason that I kept extra digits in the acceleration there. I made sure not to over-round it because I just wanted to show you that it's the same value. If you round it too much, you'll see a slight difference, but it's, when you do it, it doesn't matter to me which one you use. If you round just a little bit, it's okay, but you'll get the same tension either way that you do it. Okay, here's a second example. So this is also an Atwood machine, but this one doesn't have the table involved. So we're going to make our coordinate system follow the mass. So in this case, it's mass 2 is going to go down because it has more mass, so because it weighs more. So that's going to be our coordinate system. Up and over the pulley and down is positive, essentially because that's forward. So here's my force diagram for mass 1. Here it is for mass 2. So I made gravity bigger for mass 2 because it has more mass. I shouldn't call it something other than mass and mass. I'm saying mass too much. But notice that the gravity for mass 1 is negative because it's pulling against the direction of motion, essentially backwards. And the weight of the one on the right is positive because it's moving forwards. It's in the direction of motion. And again, the tensions will be the same. So first thing I'll do is find the acceleration. So I do F equals ma. And I have to find the net force. So I'm going to sum the two weights together because they have opposite signs. I'm taking the difference. That should make sense. It's kind of like a tug of war where the pulley is, the pivot point. Excuse me. And I add the masses together to find the acceleration. So then the acceleration, when I subtract and then divide, is going to be 5.44 newtons per kilogram. Always should be a value that's less than 9.8 because 9.8 would be in free fall. So if you ever get a number bigger than 9.8, you should be very nervous. You probably made a mistake somewhere, so look for that. So now let's find the tension. So again, I'll do this for both masses, but you only have to do it for one. So for mass 1, we've got its weight plus tension equals ma. So I've got my 9.8 negative because it's against the direction of motion, and I'm going to set that equal to ma, and I get tension of 15.24. So let's do it for mass 2 and see if it's the same. It's the same equation because we have tension and gravity. I could have put Fg2 there, equals ma. So I put my numbers in. So here my gravitational force is going to be positive because it's moving forward. So I'm going to use that to solve for the tension. So when I do that, I get a tension. In this case, I put it negative because it's in the opposite direction, but it's the same value for the tension either way that you do it. Interestingly, in this case, I must have rounded somewhere because I got a slightly different answer in the tension. But again, if you were to do this, and either one of those answers would be fine. That's within 2/100ths. And if we were to sig fig it, they would be exactly the same. So that's how you do two-body problems. The only thing that you can add to that is friction, and we'll look how to do that at another time. So that's enough for this.